all about winning on All-Ireland final day. They are, of course, Cyril Farr, Liam Sheedy and Eddie Brennan. Gentlemen, you're very, very welcome indeed. Eddie, like DJ said, I suppose, in his little interview there, no matter how many you win, I'm sure that you would love to be here today as a player.
You would, even this morning, to get up at I couldn't sleep after 7:30, and
yeah.
I think no matter what's happening in Irish life on All-Ireland final day, everybody wants to know who's playing, who's winning, no matter what your involvement. I think the whole country will come to a standstill. Just a special, special day in Irish sport, and for us in Kilkenny, we're not part of it this year, but after a long, hard chat about it, we decided we give Liam a bit of a career break and let him off travelling for a year. So
yeah, you want to be careful. He's not gone from boarding a year, by the way.
It could happen. He might like it somewhere else. But no, what a day it is for Irish sport, particularly the hurlers. I mean, after Paddy's Day, this is the big day, and after today, we're going to have maybe new heroes, and that's what it's all about. There's a nervous energy about the place, and that's what makes All-Ireland final day so special. Even this morning, not being involved, was still a bit nervous, and you're getting the breakfast into you quick and trying to get organised and get on the road, and it's just what makes the day just so appealing. And yeah, I'm gone away from it, but you'd love it again, there's no doubt about that. And
of course we saw Brendan Cummins also in that clip, Liam, celebrating year win of a couple of years ago, and that was another great day for tip hurling.
Yeah, it was. I mean, winning All-Ireland is a fantastic.
Mentally ready to go, you've a lot of work done, and I think a few small bits of tweaking here and there with formations, and it's only small. It's really irrelevant. It's down to the players and their attitude, and if they're out there playing their hearts out for you, that's all you can ask for. And that's why I just get amazed sometimes when people make so much out of tactics and stuff like that. I had a goal right at the start of the year, which I wrote down.
Which was?
Not going to tell you. Might be too far away from where we are now.
And now they're looking for more. Pouring that ball in there. This time it's McGrath, and he's finished.
We started the championship against Waterford with a great win. Against Cork, we got beaten 7 or 8 points. I don't think we deserve to be beaten 7 or 8 points, in my opinion. We were after beating Cork 3 times this year and scraped over them, let me add, like there was nothing in it. If you beat a team 3 times, and especially a team like Cork, naturally enough, what do you think they're going to do? They're going to get their backs up and they're going to come out like men possessed. And that's what happened.
It's Clare who have beaten Limerick. It's a first Clare final for 11 years.
The most important thing here is to prepare this team right, is to have a focus on a game. We're playing Cork. I have only one focus, and that's the one focus in my mind. 3:30, 70 minutes we have to get through. I'm not going to think 1 second beyond that. We are the small guys, the underdogs, but we're going to fight on our backs, and let's see where it brings us. And I would love nothing more if we could bring that Liam McCarthy back to Clare. It'd be beyond what dreams are about.
An inspirational player in his day. Will he be an inspirational manager here at Croke Park this afternoon? Liam Sheedy, explain to me just exactly what it is you think that Davy Fitz brings to Clare.
I think he went in at a very low time in the county. I mean, they had a very bad run up in Salt Hill. They were well beaten by Galway, comprehensively beaten, and maybe people thought it was going to take a long time. But I think when Davy came in, he brought a huge air of professionalism into their preparation. I mean, they all talk about it. You speak to any of the Clare players, they'll speak really highly in terms of the way they're treated, the way they're set up, and all of the professionalism that goes on. I mean, at the end of the day, they're amateurs, but they're prepared professionally. And I think that's a big thing. I think the second big thing he brings today is that he's been here before. It wasn't a nice experience for him. He was on the sideline against Waterford when Eddie and the boys just, wiped him in 20 minutes. And I think he'll have learnt a huge amount from being on that sideline. And he'll be able to, I guess, help those players to deal with what is a really big occasion in their players' lives. And there's nothing as bad for a player to come up here and not perform on All-Ireland final day. And I think maybe that lesson that he learned from being on the sideline back in 2008 could stand to them greatly today.
I think, Eddie, there's no doubt about that. It was at a function sitting beside Davy not too long after that final. That's all he talked about. That fact that it was a devastating day for Waterford, but what he wanted to learn from that experience.
Yeah, definitely. I think as a player, manager and everything, I can only speak for obviously as a player, but you learn a lot from the days that you get beaten. You learn a lot from the days that you don't perform, and more often than not, I would often describe it in talking to people as the symptoms of defeat, and you often see that one ball that maybe you didn't go for and it ends up in the back of the net or something like that. So, and it's all about learning. You know, afterwards you'll obviously drown your sorrows and get over the disappointment.
I think we can win. I mean, it's obviously 50-50. I mean, nothing between ourselves and Clare any day we've met them, and the same applies to all the counties, I think, at the moment. But I'm very happy that the team are well prepared, focused very much on it, and it's just a matter now of delivering on the day.
Yeah, Cork manager Jimmy Barry Murphy looking forward to the big day. One thing I suppose we've talked, about what Davy Fitz brings to Clare, which, has been enormous since he's come in there. Jimmy Barry Murphy, in every aspect, player, manager, person, I would describe him as just pure legend.
Yeah, he's pure gold. He's cool, he's composed. He believes in the hurling ability of Cork. Earlier on this year, they played a Waterford Crystal game against Clare. There was traffic all over the road. There was a nice speed. Half didn't get to the match. Now, Clare nearly had a strong team up, but even that night, the skill of them, it was the one thing he mentioned afterwards. Did you see the skill? Even though they were beating everyone, and there was subs, there was every kind of a guy going on because they hadn't arrived. But he brings that to them. They have belief, but he's very, very composed. And he has done it on the pitch. He has done it as a manager before. He's done it as a footballer. He's done it everywhere. Now, it's funny, the more often you're in there, and he'll admit this himself, the more often you're in there, Michael, he's probably under more pressure today than he's been ever in his life before to deliver this, because that's the way he'll bring it on himself. But the young, if you're talking to the young fellas that are going to college, he gives them that confidence. Even things are going well, he'd say, lads, listen, we are good enough, get your hurling going, believe in yourself. Once the summer weather comes, we'll get our game going and we'll do it. And now they are doing it. Now it might be hard to believe that when things weren't going well, and when they were beaten by Clare.
And of course the great fullback with Clare from the 90s, Brian Lohan. And Brian, actually, if you look at the All-Ireland winning Clare sides in the 90s, a lot of iconic figures emerged. Do you see that same sort of quality? Could that happen today?
You certainly have great guys in the Clare setup. They big test in front of them today, but they're young guys. I see them looking forward to the game, and hopefully things will go well for them.
Nobody expected this final, let's be honest. Did you expect that Clare could go anywhere close like this?
I think a lot of hurling people would have seen that Kilkenny were kind of on their way down. It was up to some team to step up, and if they got on a run, and it could easily have been Dublin, could easily have been Limerick, but it happened to be Clare and Cork, and it's been a great championship, and we're hoping that it continues from a Clare perspective.
And yet, Donal O'Grady, you wrote just back in December about your concerns for Cork hurling. Has that changed? Has this given you a boost?
Well, it certainly has given us a boost because, Cork have been without major trophies for a long, long time now. But it's almost like 66, really, where Cork came out of the blue and beat a fancy Kilkenny side, But going in against Clare, I think that they're very similar size in that they have nothing really done. They had a big relegation battle, and it's going to be a very, very open contest.
It's going to be a lot from the sidelines as well, though, isn't it? How do you see Jimmy Barry Murphy trying to counteract what David Fitzgerald is going to come up with today?
Well, it depends what it depends what Clare come up with. I mean, they might have plan A and plan B. They're bound to play a sweeper, so I think Cork will have to go up the wings and maybe play cute from the back.
How do you see it panning out, so Brian Lohan? You sound like you're pretty confident.
Yeah, I think there's a good area of confidence in Clare. Has been all weekend, and even coming up to the game, there's been good confidence. I know Cork are confident as well, but Cork are always confident, So we see it that if we're there with 10-15 minutes to go, we're in a win with a great shout out and win it.
Where would the turning point be on the pitch, though?
Hard to know. Big areas for Clare to improve is in our own puckouts. We lost 72% of our own puckouts in the last game. We'll have to improve on that. I suppose our full forward line, we'll be looking to get a bit more out of our own full forward line as well. There's areas for improvement, but we've great players all over the field.
Donal, apparently Cork are always confident. It's true, in fairness.
Well, they're confident. I mean, you have to be confident coming up into an All-Ireland final, and you have to have a good degree of self-belief. Otherwise, you're wasting your time. But I have to say that much the same as Brian said. If Cork are ahead with a few minutes to go, I think they'll hang on.
Okay, well there you go. No surprises. Those predictions. Very civilised until now. Down in Jones's Road.
Who have a foot in either camp today. 3-time All-Ireland winner with Cork, Tomás Mulcahy, and Gerlach Nan, who led Clare to victory in 1995 and 1997 as manager. Gentlemen, you're very welcome indeed. And Ger, first of all, can I say a big congratulations to yourself on your award here today. And I suppose that also makes today extra special for you.
Yeah, Michael, thank you very much. And I suppose we were warming up the crowd there for the main event, and great to be out in Croke Park. And it's only when you're down at this level that really you see just what a fantastic stadium it is, and you feel the electric atmosphere that's there today. What a game that's ahead of us now.
I saw you there obviously in the lineup a few minutes ago, and a few fellas that you would have played against down through the years there. I'm sure there's been good crack meeting up with them all again.
Yeah, you know, first thing is hard to recognise some of them when you meet them again, Michael. And, you know, to meet all the fellas we played against, none of us ever had the honour of winning an All-Ireland here, but great to meet them all. And everybody's really, really looking forward to the game that's now going to start in the next.
Thanks very much indeed for that.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, the teams are out and the excitement is building, so let's have a look at how both sides will line up for this year's All-Ireland Hurling Final as we join our commentary team of Michael Dignan and first, Ger Canning.
Thank you very much indeed, Michael. You know, when we started the Sunday games, Clare goalkeeper for this final, Pa Kelly, is the third netminder to play championship for the banner since Davy Fitzgerald's last match 7 years ago. The full back line, with experience aplenty, includes current under-21 fullback David McInerney, who's been man of the match against Limerick and in the last two under-21 matches as well. The half-back line includes captain Pat Donnellan, who's been playing the role of sweeper in matches against Galway and Limerick to great effect. Midfield then includes Conor Ryan, who would appear bound for an afternoon at number 6 if history repeats itself, and the highly influential Colin Galvin alongside him, which would mean that number 11 Tony Kelly might well be relocated to centre field, leaving John Conlon and Colin Ryan to battle at half forward. They look to utilise all available space to benefit Podge Collins, playing behind the towering figure of Dara Conan and one of Clare's most dangerous forwards, Conor McGrath. Well, Cork's goalkeeper Anthony Nash was sub to Donald O'Cusack for 6 years, but the current All-Star has been very quickly making up for lost time. He plays behind the full back line, where Conor O'Sullivan has found himself playing the role of extra defender by virtue of circumstance in recent matches. The one change since the semi-final is the recall of fit-again Brian Murphy in place of Tom Kenny. Both men, of course, are seeking a third winner's medal today. In the centre of the field, Cork have Lorcan McLaughlin and Daniel Carney, although McLaughlin has played half-back at times this year. The most experienced player at half-forward is the captain, Pa Cronin, who teaches in Lismore in County Waterford and playing today in his 30th championship match, leaving a full forward line with leading scorer Patrick Horgan, ably assisted by Luke O'Farrell, while Jamie Collin could very easily switch onto the 40.
I think Liam showed in the bit of analysis, and it's something in my own philosophy would be, no matter what, always put somebody in. Just take a chance on being in there, because often and I benefited from a few of them a few years ago against Galway, where lads just took off, and next thing I found myself on the edge of the square, and luckily enough, Owen Larkin, put one into me, and it was a one-on-one chance. But when you look at Cork's stats, they've only conceded one and scored one, which is unusual for Cork. They seem to be, maybe the last 15 years, Cork are more content to take the points, whereas you go back to the 90 team, they had goal scorers in abundance: John Fitzgibbon, Ger Fitzgerald, Kevin Hennessy, and even going back years ago, Sean Leary, the ultimate goal poacher supreme. And for me, goals win matches, and today...
But Eddie, the way they're set up now, Michael, you talk about Sean O'Leary there and Kevin Hennessy. Them guys wouldn't come outside, no more this fella. He wouldn't come out to the square. They'd be around, they'd be hatching around the square, different type of hurling, the ball be going in there. But now then the question is, sir, with players like that, great players, would they be now sort of redundant in this game that's being played at the moment? Would they be picked on the team? Well, you have say 15 on the team, but the goalie say he's in goals. But the work rate of the other 14 out there, starting at your corner forward, they'll be asked to work back deep, like the likes of Podge Collins could be back in the full back line, so he might pop up for one chance of a goal, but he's not in there like the goals, like even Eddie say here. It didn't look good for 7v6, so it'll be interesting to see how he deals with that today, but I'm sure he'll be encouraging players to watch for where the loose man. Conor O'Sullivan in the second half of the Munster of the Kilkenny match was very effective playing the loose role. So, as I said, that's what makes this final intriguing, exactly what the tactics will be. But I would still believe that whoever plays the best hurling on the day, aside the tactics, is going to win the game.
We've talked so much, Cyril, about young players. There are young players, obviously, on both sides. This Clare team, I mean, there's a couple of them will be playing again next week in the under-21 final. And so much pressure on young lads who are 19, that kind of age, to deliver a big performance here today. Any fears for them? There would be. It'd have to be how they're going to handle the occasion. Even handling the hype at home. Now, they were kept well away from that, saying Clare, but the point is, it was still hype. It's still hype around the county, and I firmly believe that it kind of got to Limerick in the last 5 weeks before their match against Clare. This is if Clare can stay in the game in the first 10 or 15 minutes, not on winning, but staying and get their game going, to stand a great chance. But the fear that the Clare people would have is that Cork would hit them with a few goals early on, and then what to do? You have to mow your shell, then you have to go chasing the game. It's completely different.
And for the 5th time this year, Clare meet Cork in competitive action, but this is the one that matters most of all. It's the second Munster All-Ireland final, the first for 16 years, and Brian Gavin from Offaly gets the match underway, and it's Cork who will play from left to right in the first half. Stalemate situation in the middle of the park here. They wait for it to come out to them. Eventually comes out as far as Brendan Bugler, and Brendan Bugler tries to set Clare on their way with the opening attack. That's Shane O'Neill getting it away towards his captain, Park Ronan. Broken up here towards Colm Galvin. Back into the corner again, the shoulder there on Podge Collins. Waiting for it is Dara Conan to come up. Big tall figure, 6'6", challenging Shane O'Neill there, causing early problems. Conor O'Sullivan coming across. Nervous opening to this match by both sets of players. William Egan eventually picking it up. The little hand pass back as far as Anthony Nash, and finally the clearance by the goalkeeper from Clonturk. Onto the 45-metre line of Clare's defence. Again, problems just getting that ball under control for Cian Dillon. He claims it. Linesman on the near side, who was Johnny Ryan from Tipperary, says that's going to be a Clare line ball. This to be taken here by Pat Donlan. And just looking at how they have set up, and it looks like Christopher Joyce is the one who's back as a sweeper or extra defender for Cork at this stage. Clare with 4 attackers inside the 65-metre line, but that's taken up here by Jamie Colin. Colin looking to try and make some headway, running into several Clare players. Back there is Colin Ryan. The hand pass across here as far as Conor Ryan, his namesake, and straight to the loose man, who is Christopher Joyce, and Chris Joyce gets it away up into the corner here, looking for Conor Lehan, but it's won instead by Donald O'Donovan, and O'Donovan gets away there. Those bright white boots, very visible down as far as Dara Conan, steadies himself, but it's blocked well. Cross came Shane O'Neill, needs a replacement stick. Quite an edgy opening couple of minutes here, Michael.
Yeah, a little bit nervous. Great play there by Donald O'Donovan out in front of Conor Lehan. He's gone into the corner, Jamie Collin out in the wing, and see Brian Murphy has picked up Tony Kelly. There's a quick line ball now into Dara Conan.
And Dara Conan has this opening shot, looking at the first point, and he's got it. Just over 2 minutes and 20 seconds are gone, and that's a good start for Dara Conan and for Clare. Right out there, near the sidelines, settled his feet. There was nobody in to challenge him, however. Good, clever piece of thinking by Clare.
Yeah, great scoring. They've been doing that all year, that quick line ball, and surprised Cork weren't ready for it.
Pressure on the Clare defence here. How will they cope? Picked up here well by Conor Ryan. And the referee has spotted foul inside there, and it's going to be a free. Podge Collins with a puzzled look on his face as the referee was blowing his whistle that time, but it's going to be a free in for Clare, a chance for them to tag on a second point. And this will bring Colin Ryan onto the 45-metre line or thereabouts for his first shot in this All-Ireland final, and a chance to get an early point for him. Very centrally positioned, well within his range, and a chance for Clare to go 2-0 in front. 51 points he scored so far, chance to make it 52, should do so, and he does. Well, that is a very, very good start by the Bannermen. That'll settle them down very, very nicely indeed.
Absolutely, they're an interesting, Cian Dillon has picked up Pat Horgan. He's been the sort of man marker all year. He picked up Joe Canning, and he's in on him. And Clare gone orthodox. I'm not surprised by this. This is what I was predicting during the week. They've abandoned the sweeper system and they're gone man to man.
Might just work for them, and might confuse Cork. I might have been expecting something else. Here's Seamus Harnedy clipping it across in here towards Luke O'Farrell, lets it run on. Look at the number of defenders who gather immediately, and Donald O'Donovan gets it away over the far sideline. It'll be a line ball to Cork. The pressure will remain on that Clare defence. And who wants to take it is Daniel Carney. That was Donald O'Donovan from Clonlara, the 25-year-old. Taken short by Cork in here towards Conor Lehan. Leaves it behind him. O'Donovan's after it again. He's made a good start. Second time to get on the ball. Hand passing it down towards Podge Collins. Challenged there immediately by Conor O'Sullivan. And this time the linesman far side, who is James McGrath, signals that it's going to be a Cork possession. William Egan looks like the man who's going to take it. Egan from Kilbrin in North Cork, which is the birthplace, by the way, of Archbishop Thomas Croke, in whose honour Croke Park, of course, is named.
And you're just looking at Clare, the only man inside 50 yards is Derek Honan inside on a one-on-one. If they can get a ball inside, all their forwards have withdrawn way out the field and they've left huge space inside in front of the goal.
And they'll be hoping to crowd that midfield and negate Cork's creative ability and exploit the space at the other end as David McInerney drives it, but drives it inaccurately. Well, it's a very interesting tactical match. You can see that already, the way Clare have set up, and Jimmy Barry Murphy and his mentors having to react. Everybody had said going into this that they should perhaps stick with the tried and trusted, but you never knew with Davy Fitzgerald. He was always capable of producing something special.
See, as Conor Ryan gone to centre back, Pat Donlan playing in the middle of the field, he's picked up Lorcan McLaughlin. Lorcan McLaughlin scored 3 points in the first half against Dublin. There's Seamus Harnedy now with a chance.
Harnedy swinging it off his left, and that one's got over the bar, and it's the opening point for Cork in this match. It's taken them nearly 6 minutes, but Seamus Harnedy, who's distinguished himself right from the very beginning of this year with display after display, wonderful hurling. 2 points to 1.
Yeah, great first touch there and a very important score. You know, settled Cork in. They were very hesitant since the start of the game, but that's a great score.
Joyce goes up, leaves it behind, however. Picked up here by Brian Murphy. Oh, so wayward pass straight to the other number 5, who is Brendan Bugler. Withstands the challenge. Back here as far as John Conlon. Conlon, 65 metres out from his target. It's a lovely looking shot and it's got over the bar. What a boost that is for John Conlon. Well, he usually is a consistent, threatening force for Clare, hampered by injury this year, but here he's made it 3 points to 1.
Yeah, that's a great score. John Conlon stretched it off down against Cork in the Munster semi-final, and it was a big loss that day with concussion. A brilliant score.
3 shots, 3 points by Clare. And that time a bit of a wild swing. The referee has penalised Conor Ryan, and it's going to be a free in for Cork. Chance for them to eat into that lead that Clare have established. And the first shot at the target for Pat Horgan, the Glen Rovers player. 1 goal and 30 points so far this year. 20 of those, 20 points coming from frees. This from 50 metres out. Very, very light breeze behind him, but it's mostly a still afternoon. He's driven it straight over. Very good start made. Little to choose between the teams.
Yeah,
that was the foul.
Yeah, the left hand there, you can see in around the head and just caught him by the helmet. Definite free in.
Conor Ryan, the guilty party, can't afford to give away frees like that with the likes of Pat Horgan around. That sails through the middle here, going back, trying to take it. Brian Murphy, but under pressure now, and the pressure being exerted by Tony Kelly. Ever the danger. Tricky angle for him. Wonderful score. Beautiful point by Tony Kelly. Well, he got the angles absolutely right there, because this wasn't easy by any manner of means. Stumbling, pursued vigorously, but he still managed to get that shot in. Great score, 4-2.
Yeah, and he's brilliant at that, Jerry. You know, see the way him shortened the grip, and you know, if his first touch was a little better, he might have been through on goal there. He just fumbled it at the start, but a great point afterwards.
This sailed straight through the centre. Pat O'Connor in the white helmet, number 7 trying to get to it, waiting for it as well is Colm Galvin. Picked up in the end here, however, by Carney. Hand pass outside to Joyce. Christopher Joyce, the piercing player, trying to get away, being followed by Colin Ryan there. Hard work being done by both sets of players, and back is Conor McGrath, the corner forward, notionally. One attacking force really as Colm Galvin hits it in. That one force is Derek Honan, and Honan against Shane O'Neill. They've isolated him in there, and O'Neill does well here, but there is some holding.
Yeah, but sure, this is very dangerous from a Cork point of view. We look one-on-one in here. Shane O'Neill's hurl just been held there by Derek Honan for a second, but you know that Cork are leaving nobody back in support there, and if Honan gets one ball there into his hand, it's going to be in the back of the net.
Well, the loose player they have there at the moment is Conor O'Sullivan. It's changed even since the beginning of this match just 9 minutes ago. From this free, up there towards Park Ronan. They follow it in. Luke O'Farrell trying to get to it, and he goes down under the trip that time. The referee has blown his whistle, and Brian Gavin noting the offence. Luke O'Farrell, one of the real dangers for that Clare defence. Pat Donlan speaking with the referee here. It's got to be another free in. Horgan will take it. So this should be 4 points to 3, and little to choose between these teams in the opening 10 minutes.
Yeah, and I think Cork will be happy enough, Jerry. They haven't done a lot of hurling. They're only going to be a point down now after this, and you know, it's a bit of nervous obviously early on here now, and the game really hasn't taken light yet.
Well, he hit it with plenty of height but loads of accuracy as well, and a second pointed free by the 25-year-old, and now it's 4 points to 3. Clare still the leaders, just over 10 minutes gone in this year's All-Ireland Hurling Final. That was the trip that led to the free being awarded. Pa Kelly, wonderful young goalkeeper for Clare, looking for John Conlon. He's often the target of the puck outs. Bugler is there just in case it's broken down to him. Conlon got that point earlier on, inside towards McGrath, runs on. Joyce misses it, needs a little bit of assistance there. Shane O'Neill trying to get it away, some fumbling. Eventually it's Joyce who picks it up here. He's grown into the role here of centre half back this year quite considerably. Brian Murphy now slipping the little hand pass back. Shane O'Neill once again, 31st championship match today. Big huge one up there. Inside to the inside forward line towards Horgan. Horgan and Harnedy going after it. Clare standing firm, but again the referee has blown his whistle and spotted a loose hurl that time. A little bit of indiscipline. Penalised by referee Brian Gavin, and the man who's the guilty party this time is Pat O'Connor. And another free in and another chance to tie up the game.
Yeah, and you'd have to say, you know, all frees, little tip, but they're soft frees to be given away in All-Ireland Final, and that's 3 handy frees now that Pat Horgan has got in the last few minutes.
I doubt the manager will be very happy with the level of discipline shown so far. So Pat Horgan to hit this one. Low trajectory this time, but the usual result, 3 points out of 3 attempted shots from frees, and the team's tied up at 4 points apiece. Well, it's interesting that in the last match, which was the semi-final of the Munster Championship, his team only got 2 frees against Cork. Colin Ryan took one of them, and the other was a 65. By comparison, Cork got 7 of their scores from place balls. This time it's Colin Ryan trying to advance. This time he's fouled as he was doing so, and he'll fancy taking this free himself, I'm sure. Just caught here. That time Cork's discipline letting them down. Chris Joyce making his way back. He's only 21 years of age, still very much learning the ropes. So Colin Ryan from Newmarket-on-Fergus, the county champions in Clare last year. Very, very reliable free taker normally. This to put Clare back in front again. And this time he's absolutely precise. A second pointed free. That wasn't easy. That was a fair old distance out. It's all very well doing it in the Clare Championship or in other grounds, but here on All-Ireland Final Day itself, the pressure is immense.
Yeah, they're not easy, any of them, and you know, both free takers, you know, huge bearing today, but they're at 90%, I think, both of them all year, and they're not going to miss too many.
Nash's puck out here, drops into the hand of Pat O'Connor. Down towards Podge Collins, yet to do that kind of roaming role that we anticipate from him. And a couple of times the ball has been aimed down in his corner and it's been misjudged and gone out of play. And he hasn't been able to do anything creative so far, but he is a very, very fine young player.
Yeah, and it's clear, I think, that Clare are targeting Podge Collins' wing. You know, that David McInerney had a long clearance, went out over the line again. Pat O'Connor, he's in at centre back now. Pat O'Connor with Conor Ryan out in the wing, and this man is playing everywhere for Clare this year. You know, and it's obviously a man marking situation that they're going with today, with Conor Ryan picking up Seamus Harnedy.
Conor O'Sullivan cutting it up here. And one back again by Clare, and it's the strong man Conor Ryan, centre half back in last year's under-21 winning team, down as far as Dara Conan, who won a under-21 medal here in 2009, spooning it through here towards his fellow attacker Conor McGrath, but that was targeted a little bit slowly, and Stephen MacDonald was able to get back. A lot of hand passes go back to Anthony Nash, the goalkeeper, and I'm sure Clare will be aware of that. The other backs have great faith in him and use him repeatedly. That's well taken again by Conor Ryan. He started really promisingly. Colin Ryan now hitting one from a huge distance. It's got to drop short. That was highly ambitious. The other forwards often thank him for it. This time the challenge is on Pat Donlan. There's a Clare player in the square, injured. Meanwhile, Brendan Bugler advances, has a go, but puts it away to the right, and the player is down, is Dara Conan.